everybody. Okay, so we're gonna jump right into content today. Normally I have extra things to say. Today I don't. We're just gonna jump right into identity and role. So there is on just a normal Google search, or if you're a podcast listener of any kind, I'm a serial podcast listener these days, so much content about people working on their identity. I guess if I put it out there, it's almost like a fad diet. We're working on our identity. This is what I'm working on, right now. And I was listening to, I was actually on the road. I was traveling for some things with my kids recently, and so I had an opportunity to listen to a couple podcasts in a row. And I was actually irritated listening to them a couple at a time, because it occurred to me that people use this theory of working on their identity at like a buzzword. And I think that it's almost too much of an umbrella theory. So I wanted to take a minute and I always talk for more than a minute, let's be honest, and break it down just a little bit more. We've talked about identity and role in a few of my other videos, and I'm very, very transparent about this. I have heard this talked about multiple times, but I have a favorite way that I've heard it coached on. So I'm gonna use that theory in talking about it today. And I'm sure that I'll embellish because I can't help myself. But this overarching thought process is not mine. I'm going to reiterate it here. But I think that there's just so much out on the internet about identity that it does us some justice to talk about it a little bit deeper and give people some content. So here's my ask from today. Watch the video. If you really love it, tag it on another video that maybe isn't talking about identity in its entirety. With that caveat, I know I'm looking a little rough tonight, and I'm totally rocking the baseball cap and sweatshirt for this training, but that's how much this has kind of really rubbed on me. And I feel that if people truly are looking to work on their identity, we need to get more information like this out. So, identity is something that is typically set in us by the age of 5. If you walk into a preschool or a kindergarten classroom, or you work, if you have kids, if you've ever been in that type of environment, those types of teachers will tell you that the identity of a child is set typically by the age of 5. For me, being a mom and an aunt, and lots of little people in my life, when I heard that statistic, it was really scary for me. My kids were older by the time I had heard that, but just in general, little people, both uplifted little people and all of the kids that don't have that kind of uplifting, it's really kind of a double-edged sword. For those of us that are currently in life, though, 5 was a long time ago. I mean, I'm 21 and holding and all. However, 5 was a long time ago. And it's not that our identity can't be changed. However, it's such a more conscious effort to change it. So I think that when we talk about making changes to our identity, there's a couple of things that we need to be aware of. How our identity affects the roles that we hold in life, and how we choose to change our identity. There's a big correlation there, and if we're not aware of both of those things, the rest of that information kind of falls by the wayside. And again, that's why I think it's really important that we kind of get this information out. So our identity, and we can I'm not going to kind of spill all the beans here, because this is a huge coaching topic, and to be completely blunt here, we are a coaching firm. It is the absolute best way for you to get this content is to have one of the coaches here at Oxygen work either with you one-on-one or for us to come and speak on your stage or work with your team. It is the most effective way for you to get this training and for us to deliver it. However, I'm pretty passionate about the fact that I've listened to all these podcasts. That's the third time I've said it, so it's kind of rubbing me. So that's why we're getting it out there. If you have questions or you feel like this is a topic that's important to you guys, please, please, please shoot us a message. All of our contact information is on all of our social media sites. One of us will get back to you. We respond super quickly. If this is something that you're looking to work on, get in touch with one of our trainers. We will speak on your stage. We will coach your team. We will, we have a national presence. So your identity, when you identify what it is and how you measure it, typically we would measure it, on some type of numerical scale, will then determine how you function at its peak in each one of your roles. So if we set, we'll start with a 1 through 10. If we say that your identity is a 7, then each one of your roles, the most that you can perform in your roles, all of them, whether it's, for me, I'm a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a sales coach, I have a significant other, so I'm a girlfriend, I'm a dog mom, I'm a coach at the school, I am somebody's friend, I am somebody's best friend, I am somebody's, client, that's only 10, and I didn't try very hard. So in my 10 roles, if my identity is a 7, then the best I can function in any one of those 10 roles is a 7. Now, before somebody says to me, okay, Kat, I can be great one day and horrible the next. I'm sure we can all have that one-off, sun is shining, woke up on the right side of the bed, closed the biggest sales deal of our career deal, and you have a 9-day or a 10-day, but your identity is only a 7. However, that is not anything that you will sustain. It is not anything that the people around you can anticipate or meet you where you're at. So if your identity is a 7 and all of your roles, some might be lower than 7, but they will all max out at a 7. If we do the work at, 25 years old, 27 years old, 35 years old, 85 years old, however old you are, to then improve your identity to an 8, then your maximum potential for all of your roles increases. If you continue to do your work, then it goes up. It can go up again. It can also go down. If there's a major life event, whether it be the loss of someone that you are close to, a major traumatic event, and let me give you this caveat: a major traumatic event in your life, whether it be the loss of a child, the loss of really anyone close to you in your life, some kind of sickness, anything like that, is a cause for a major transition in identity. It will completely redirect where you are currently at. But you can do the work. It can go up or down. You can choose to not do the work and surround yourself with people that you should not be around, and your identity can go down. And in turn, all of the roles that you function in, whether you're a great employee at work and you're killing it, whatever, it will go down. As your identity starts to go down, your ability to function in your roles as a parent, as an employee, as the guy standing in line at the bank, it will all start to deteriorate. Those things are directly proportional to your identity. And here's where I think it starts to get lost. Here's why I think I listen to enough people try to say, well, I want to do better. I'm working on my identity. When you have this one great thing, right? We sometimes, I hear, before I had really done the work to research this and learn this and be able to help people through this, I used to say, it's easier to go to work. I'm so much better at work, right? And in a lot of cases, we spend more time with the people that are at work. At home, we come home, there's financial problems. We spend most of our time at home in bed because we're sleeping. It's chaotic. It's communication problems. You're not paid to be there. Just home is crazy. Little people, whatever your home dynamic is like, home is, in a lot of cases, in my experience, more hectic and more difficult than going to work. You are still, again, if that identity is set at, like right here, you can't outperform your identity. You may even so much as be a different type of person at work. But then I would challenge you that either at work or at home, there is a shallow version in one of those two places. Somebody is not getting an authentic version of you, and thus the role in one of those places is lesser than your identity. I don't care if you're an NFL football player. I don't care if you are, out driving Tiger Woods on every golf course that he's ever played, and you're the best golfer. Your identity, even on the golf course, is still only going to be as great in that role as your identity. Now, as a dad, maybe you can perform at that same thing. Maybe it's lower, but it still has the potential to be that high. When I hear people say, oh, but at work I'm crushing it, I just can't figure out how to do that at home. Well, you have it. Your identity is up that high. You can't have one that's way up here, oh, but my identity's down here. It doesn't work like that. You can't supersede your identity way up here, or your role way up here in work, but your identity's down here. That would be like somebody just throwing money at you. Because guess what? That means we could take you out of that role and put somebody else there, and then they just throw the money at them. So now you just don't need credit for it? It doesn't, and nobody would even admit to that if that were the case. Or it would be a robot, and it's the year 2019. We would have you replaced by now. So if your abilities in a specific role are to crush it, for lack of a better term, then your identity truly is that high. And you're cutting yourself short in all these other roles. Now, you might be tired, and there might not be enough hours in every day. However, you have the ability to perform up to that maximum identity. Every single one of those pillars, if we were to do it on a graph, has the ability to be up to your highest identity. You have to acknowledge the fact that you are either showing up as a shell of a person in one of those situations. If you tell me, Kat, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, you're right. There's a lot of things that I don't know about. However, I can tell you that you can't be an 8 identity on a 1 to 10 scale, 11 at work, and a 3 husband, or a 4 girlfriend, 10 at work, and 7 identity. It doesn't work like that. If your identity is a 9, then being a husband, being in your job, being a son, They all have the ability to be a 9. It's what you choose to put your effort into and show up authentically that will give you a 9. So my point to you is you have to take the first step and understand how you rate your identity. And like I said, there is tons of different ways to measure it and to identify what you truly are and how you truly feel about yourself. Identity is how you see yourself absent of all distraction. How you show up absent of all distraction. Void of everyone else's opinion, how do you show up? Your roles are all the functions that you have in individual capacity. A mom, your job. I'm a mom, I have a job, I'm somebody's daughter, I'm somebody's granddaughter, I'm somebody's niece, I'm somebody's dog mom, I'm somebody's, client, I'm somebody's coach, I'm somebody's swim coach, I'm somebody's, whatever, all of the different roles that I play. And that identity has the ability to move up and down. So take this for what it's worth. However, when I hear people on the internet, which, if you hear it on the internet, it's 1000% true and, stated, it gotta be true, right? I would challenge you to take the link to this video, tag it as just some additional information. I love to hear people wanting to work on their identity. I love it. I think it's great. I am always going to be a cheerleader for people that are looking to learn more about themselves. If you can function in one role as a certain number, then you have the ability to show up in all those other roles at that same maximum capacity. Don't use it as an excuse to not show up. Maybe, just maybe, that role that you think you're so great at, you've got some pretty big blind spots. Maybe you're accurate and you aren't giving yourself enough credit in those other roles that you carry. And maybe, just maybe, we have a better question for you on how to identify what your identity looks like. Your identity is not a rock solid number. It can change, it can adjust. You can be the kind of person who walks into a room and people are set by, their role is set by your identity. Your identity is a very, very powerful thing. However, we do have to be super conscious that it affects all of our roles equally. If you're a Major League Baseball player and you can play baseball at this amazing, just at what I call tie game theory, just no matter what, zero fear, just over and over and over again. A flow out of you that you've never experienced before, but you can't carry that over to the other places in your life, then that's a role issue. And that's understanding that what you do in your career, that's a role. And your identity sets the maximum capacity for how you will function in all of your other roles. Your role does not define your identity. However, your identity does define how high you can function in each role. I hope that this information was just a little bit more information for people looking to study their identity, and I hope you share it with somebody who's looking or studying identity. And I hope that everybody takes just a little bit more time to breathe life in, because that's what we do here at Oxygen. And I can't wait to meet everybody and answer everybody's questions. Have a great day, everybody.